Hey, welcome back, or welcome if you're new. I won't drag this out, let's get straight into it. Because if your kitchen feels like it's always in use but never quite resets, you're not imagining it. Someone's always cooking, grabbing a snack, dropping off bags, leaving dishes in the sink. It's the most used room in the house and the one that seems to unravel the fastest. I used to think I just needed one good cleaning day to get it under control, but that clean slate feeling never lasted. What actually helped? A few quiet habits repeated often that slowly made the chaos stop coming back. That's what I'm sharing today. 10 practical, realistic things I started doing in my very real kitchen with mess kids work and days when I didn't feel like doing anything. They're not magic, but they make your kitchen feel calmer, more manageable, and honestly easier to enjoy again. And we'll start with one habit that takes less than 5 minutes at night, but by morning it changes how everything feels. Let's start with a habit that closes your day and keeps tomorrow from starting in chaos, closing the kitchen in 5 minutes. There was a time when I thought the only way to feel calm was to clean the whole house. But what I really needed was to end the day without dreading the morning after. There's a kind of exhaustion that doesn't come from cleaning it. It comes from knowing you'll have to start all over again tomorrow. I used to walk into my kitchen every morning and instantly feel drained. The stove was still greasy, a damp towel hanging somewhere, a couple of dirty dishes still in the sink from last night. That kind of mess made me feel like I could never quite catch up. So I started a small habit I now call closing the kitchen. It doesn't mean making everything spotless, just 5 minutes at the end of the day to wrap things up, gently toss used dish towels into the laundry basket, wipe down the stove so the grease doesn't settle overnight, check the sink, and if there's time, rinse or wash what's left. Then spray the sink and dry it off with a cloth. There were nights when I only did 3 of those things, and it still took less than 5 minutes. But the next morning when I turned the kitchen lights on and everything felt calm, I genuinely felt grateful to the me from the night before. No mess staring me in the face before I'd even had coffee. I don't need a picture-perfect kitchen, just one that doesn't make me feel more overwhelmed before the day even starts. And once the end-of-day cleanup feels lighter, you might start noticing something else. Maybe it's not the dishes. Maybe it's how much we're putting on the table in the first place. And once you've made peace with the kitchen at night, the next question becomes, how do you keep the rest of your home from slipping back into chaos the next morning? That's exactly what tomorrow's video is about. Everyday habits that help you keep your home clean without always cleaning. Trust me, once you hear them, you'll wish you knew them sooner. Next is the way we serve, because sometimes the clutter starts before we've even finished eating. You don't have to make every dinner feel like a dinner party. Next, let's look at how we serve our meals, because sometimes the clutter starts before we've even eaten. Sometimes we think the problem is the cleaning, but it starts way before that with how much we bring to the table. For years, I thought a proper dinner meant putting every dish in its own bowl, ladle, or platter. A pot of soup, a plate for the veggies, another one for the meat serving spoons, little bowls for sauces. And by the time we finished eating, the kitchen looked like it had hosted a party I wasn't invited to. Now I do it differently, and dinner cleanup takes half the time. I portion everything right at the stove. If it's just family, everyone walks up, fills their plate, and sits down. No serving bowls, no extra utensils. If something needs to be kept hot, I'll bring the whole pot to the table and place it on a trivet. We all know to be careful, and if you have little ones, you can always plate their food in advance. This might sound too casual, but I promise, we still eat well, we still talk, the food is still warm. But after dinner, I'm not staring down 10 extra things to wash just because I thought the meal should look a certain way. Cutting out unnecessary steps doesn't make the meal any less meaningful. It just means I'm not resenting it when it's over. And the less energy I spend on dishes, the more I have left for myself. Next, let's talk about the one spot in the kitchen that secretly sets the tone for everything, and why it's the first place I always check when things start to feel messy. Then comes the sink, the small space that quietly sets the tone for your entire kitchen. There was a time when I didn't even realize the sink was setting the tone. Now let's talk about one small area that holds surprising power, the kitchen sink. When it's messy, everything feels heavier. There's something about a dirty sink that makes the whole kitchen feel worse. You can have clean counters, swept floors, but if the sink is full or grimy, it pulls everything down with it. It's not just about looks, it's about energy. The sink is where most of the unfinished things sit. So now it's the first place I check when I feel the kitchen starting to spiral. If I have 3 minutes, here's what I do. Empty anything sitting in the drain catcher. Rinse or load the last few dishes. Sprinkle a little baking soda into the sink. It helps lift grease without damaging the surface. Add a drop of dish soap. Use a soft sponge or cloth to swirl it around from top to bottom. Then rinse with hot water, and if I have a moment, I wipe it dry with a cloth. That last part makes a bigger difference than I expected. A dry sink looks done. It feels done. And when I walk back in later, I don't get hit with that low-level guilt that used to sit there waiting. Just one clean spot, especially this one, makes the whole kitchen feel like something I can handle again. In the next tip, we'll zoom out from the sink and look at all the things sitting on your counters that might be making the kitchen feel more crowded than it really is. After that, take a look at your counters. Not for how they look, but how they make you feel. You don't have to live like you're always mid-cooking. Let's shift our focus to the counters, because sometimes the mess isn't about how much you're doing, but how much is sitting there asking for attention. It's not about minimalism. It's about how many decisions your brain has to make every time you walk into the kitchen. A crowded counter isn't just visual clutter, it's mental clutter. Every appliance, every open bag of snacks, every utensil jar you haven't touched in weeks. It all asks your brain a question. Are you going to deal with me? And that's the kind of noise we don't even notice until it's gone. So I started doing something simple. I gave every item on my counter a permission check. Do I use this daily? Is it worth the space it takes up? If not, it goes into a drawer, into a cabinet, or out of the kitchen completely. Now we have only a few things on our counters: a small cutting board, the kettle, and one plant. That's it. The coffee machine stays because we use it daily, but everything else, it had become furniture I stopped seeing. And here's the part no one tells you: with fewer things sitting out, cleaning becomes almost effortless. Wipe done, there's nothing to work around. But more importantly, when I walk into the kitchen now, I feel like I can think. Let's stay with this idea for a moment, because the space under your sink, that's often the most cluttered, chaotic black hole of all, and it's usually the one we avoid the longest. Now let's open the cabinet. Most of us avoid the one under the sink, where overwhelm likes to hide. There was a time when I avoided the space under my sink like it had a bad secret. Now let's open that cabinet. We all tend to ignore the one under the sink. It might be hidden, but it's often where the overwhelm begins. It's funny how something can be completely out of sight and still make you feel overwhelmed. That's what the space under my kitchen sink used to be. I wouldn't open it unless I had to, and when I did, it felt like the mess would spill out. Bottles, I didn't use rags. I forgot about old cleaners I didn't even like. It wasn't storage, it was avoidance. So one weekend, I pulled everything out. I gave myself permission to toss the half-used things that never worked. I grouped the essentials: dish soap, vinegar, baking soda, a couple of spray bottles I actually reach for, and one clean sponge I keep dry and ready. That's it. Now when I open that cabinet, it's not a black hole. It's just a simple kit for one job: cleaning the kitchen. And here's the real benefit: when something spills or gets messy, I don't hesitate anymore. I know exactly where things are. I don't waste energy deciding or searching. And that moment of clarity when the mess hits, but you're already prepared, it's a small kind of power. Speaking of messes that sneak up on us, the next tip is about a spot that builds up grime over time, not because we're lazy, but because it's tucked just out of reach. Tip 6 is for those forgotten little spaces, the narrow corners that quietly collect grime. You don't have to do a deep clean to feel proud of your space. And finally, for this section, let's talk about those narrow, forgotten corners, the ones that only bother you once you see them, and then you can't unsee them. There's a kind of mess that doesn't bother you until the moment you notice it, and then it won't stop bothering you. For me, that was the narrow gap between the stove and the counter. You know, the one too tight for your hand, just wide enough for crumbs, dust, and maybe a rogue noodle to fall into every time you cook. I ignored it for years because it felt too annoying to deal with. I didn't want to pull out the stove. I didn't want another project. But one day, I tried something easy. I wrapped a damp cloth around a butter knife, slid it into the gap, and just ran it along the edge. And the amount of grime that came out, honestly embarrassing, but also so satisfying. That little action changed how I saw my whole kitchen. It reminded me that I don't need to deep clean everything to feel better. I just need to take back a few hidden spaces one at a time. So now, once every week or two, I pick a sneaky spot, that same stove gap, the corner behind the trash bin, or the edge where the backsplash meets the counter. I don't do it perfectly, but I do it, and that's what matters. Next, let's move from hidden grime to hidden buildup in a place we use daily, but rarely look at closely: the sink faucet. Moving on to something even smaller, the buildup around your faucet that you barely notice until you do. There was a time when I thought little things didn't matter until I saw how much they added up. Next, let's look at one of those small, overlooked spots, the faucet head. A little ring of buildup can quietly make your whole sink feel unclean. You know that crusty white ring around the faucet head? The one you stop noticing until someone else points it out? Or until the water starts spraying sideways? It's such a small thing, but it's one of those daily eyesores that slowly chips away at how clean your kitchen feels, no matter how much you scrub elsewhere. I used to ignore it. I thought it's just mineral deposits, it's not hurting anyone. But over time, that little bit of buildup started making everything look tired, dingy, like the kitchen had been left to itself. One night, I finally did something about it, and it took less than a minute. I grabbed a small zip bag, filled it halfway with plain white vinegar, and wrapped it around the faucet head using a rubber band. Left it overnight, took it off in the morning, wiped it with a cloth, and just like that, it was clean. Like brand new clean. Now I do this once a month, no scrubbing, no harsh chemicals. Just a quiet fix that makes a visible difference. And every time I turn on the tap, I don't see that chalky reminder of all the things I haven't gotten to. I see something that tells me, hey, you're keeping up. Next, let's shift to something we touch every day but almost never clean properly, and why doing it the right way helps things last longer and feel better in your hands. Then there's the everyday tools we use and forget, like wooden spoons and cutting boards that deserve a little care too. You don't have to treat everything like it's replaceable. Now let's talk about the tools that show up for us every day, like wooden spoons and that old cutting board. They deserve a little care too. Some of the things we use the most are the ones we take care of the least. For me, it was wooden spoons. And that one old cutting board I've had forever. I'd rinse them after cooking, maybe let them dry in the rack, but I didn't really take care of them. I thought they were fine until they weren't. One day, I noticed the spoon I used to stir soup every week had started to feel rough. The grain was raised, it smelled a little off, and the end was starting to split. And that's when it hit me. These tools show up for me every day, but I've never paused to take care of them. So I changed how I handle wood in the kitchen. Now I hand wash wooden utensils right after use, dry them completely. And once a month, I give them a little oil treatment. Just a few drops of food-safe mineral oil or board oil rubbed in with a cloth. It takes 2 minutes. But the result? Everything feels smoother, cleaner, and stronger. Nothing smells weird, nothing cracks. They last longer and they look cared for. And more than anything, it's become a small moment of respect for the tools, for the food I cook, and for the version of me that finally stopped rushing through every task like it was a chore to be escaped. Up next, we'll look at the invisible mess that often causes the biggest problems, the oil and grease we pour away without thinking. Almost done, but this one matters more than you'd think. Stop pouring grease down the drain before it turns into a mess you can't see. There was a time when I did things the easy way, until the consequences weren't so easy anymore. Up next is a habit that seems harmless, until it turns into a plumbing bill. Let's talk about grease and what to do with it instead. There are things we do in the kitchen that feel harmless, until they're not. And for me, one of those things was pouring grease down the sink. I'd finish cooking, the pan would still be warm, and I'd just rinse it out. It felt easy, clean, done. Until one day our pipes backed up and the plumber showed me exactly why. Even just a little bit of oil rinsed away daily can build up inside the pipes over time. It hardens, it sticks, it catches food, and suddenly you've got a very expensive, very gross problem on your hands. So now I do something simpler. After cooking, I let the pan cool slightly, then use a paper towel to wipe out the excess grease. That towel goes straight into the compost or trash depending on where you live. If there's more oil than I can wipe up, I pour it into an empty can or jar I keep under the sink. Once it's full, I toss the whole thing. It's not fancy. It's not perfect. But it keeps the grease out of the pipes and out of my future stress list. It's a small shift, but like everything else we've talked about, it adds up. Less buildup, less cleanup, less wondering why does the kitchen still feel messy. Now let's finish with one last habit, and it's not about cleaning, it's about setting the tone for everything else by how you treat the thing you use most, your kitchen counters. And finally, let's clear the counter, not for guests, not for perfection, but so your mind can breathe again. You don't have to live under visual pressure every single day. And finally, we're back where we started, the kitchen counter. Not to make it picture perfect, just calm enough that your mind can breathe. The counter is supposed to be where we prep food, pour coffee, pack lunches. But somewhere along the way, mine became something else entirely, a dumping ground. Male school forms chargers, half-finished cups of tea, random utensils that didn't make it back to the drawer. It started to feel like my counter was holding everything I didn't have the energy to deal with. And every time I walked into the kitchen, that mess greeted me first. It wasn't just visual, it was emotional. Like the kitchen was silently handing me a to-do list before I'd even made breakfast. So now I keep one simple rule: the counter isn't for storage, it's for movement, for clarity, for space. That means I leave it mostly clear. One plant, a small cutting board, whatever we actually use every day and nothing else. If I find something sitting out too long, I ask, does this belong here? Or am I just avoiding putting it where it should go? It's not about aesthetics, it's about ease. Because when your counter is clear, your mind feels just a little bit clearer too. And that's really what this whole video has been about, not just a clean kitchen, but a calmer one. One that works with you, not against you. So those were 10 small habits I've come to rely on, not to make my kitchen perfect, but to make it feel lighter, more manageable, and less overwhelming. You don't have to change everything, just pick one thing and start there. If even one tip in this video made things feel a little easier, a little calmer, then that's already enough. I also have a video on how to declutter different areas of the home, one space at a time. If you're ready to move beyond the kitchen, that's a great one to watch next. And if this video helped you in any way, feel free to hit like, so I know what's truly making a difference for you. And if you're wondering how to carry that calm beyond the kitchen into your living room, your bedroom, your whole space, don't miss tomorrow's video. It's packed with 17 simple daily habits that make your home feel clean without the constant pressure to be cleaning. If there's one video you come back for, let it be that one. Your future self will be so glad you did.